Happening now, why some state lawmakers are not pleased with new limits on pandemic evictions. Plus, we check in with the latest efforts to deliver a $2,000 stimulus check.
Well, the clouds continue out there this afternoon with a few renegade lake effect snowflakes, but how is New Year's looking? I'll give you the details next. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. New York's governor is increasing penalties on healthcare providers who intentionally disregard the state's vaccine prioritization protocols. Governor Andrew Cuomo says he will issue a new executive order that cracks down on providers who knowingly administer the COVID-19 vaccine to those outside of the state's protocols. And they could face penalties up to $1 million, as well as their license being pulled. Additionally, certifications of vaccine recipients will now be mandatory as part of the state's vaccination plan.
Anyone who engages in fraud is going to be held accountable. The executive order I'm going to sign today says a provider could be fined up to $1 million and revocation of all state licenses, which frankly may be more of a deterrent than the $1 million. And that will apply to a provider, a doctor, a nurse, a pharmacist, any licensed healthcare professional.
Now, this action comes following reports of a downstate provider apparently obtaining and then administering the COVID-19 vaccine, flouting the state's guidelines. The governor has already directed the Department of Health and state police to investigate the matter, and the case has been referred to the Attorney General's office. Well, two new COVID-19 vaccines now authorized, one from Pfizer Biotech, the other from Moderna. But now a warning from the FBI about scammers trying to cash in on those vaccines. I'm Mandy Gaither with ways to avoid becoming a victim.
In the fight against COVID-19, scammers are looking to cash in. The FBI now warning Americans of vaccine scams, which include ads or offers for early vaccine access for a fee, paying out of pocket to be on a vaccine waiting list, which doesn't exist, offers for additional medical testing or procedures when you get a vaccine, unsolicited emails or calls from someone claiming to be from a medical office, insurance company, or vaccine center requesting personal information, claims that the government requires you to receive a COVID-19 vaccine, and ads for vaccines from unknown sources or claims of FDA approval for an unverified vaccine. To avoid becoming a victim, get up-to-date information on vaccine distribution through your state's health department website. The FDA is also updating their website on which vaccines have been authorized. Consult your doctor before getting a vaccine. Don't share your personal or health information with anyone other than those who are known and trusted medical professionals. Check your medical and insurance explanation of benefits for any suspicious claims and report any errors to the company. Finally, follow guidance and recommendations from trusted sources like the CDC. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you. Anyone who may have been a victim of COVID fraud is urged to report it to the FBI. You can do that through their website or call 1-800-CALL-FBI. A local New York State senator is speaking out about the recently passed freeze on evictions and certain foreclosures statewide. New York State Senator George Borrello says the new moratorium is deeply flawed. In a statement released following the passing of the bill yesterday, Borrello says the legislation will cause further financial damage by denying revenue to property owners without even requiring a tenant to provide some kind of proof of financial difficulty. Now, under the moratorium, New York will freeze evictions and certain foreclosures for 2 months. Renters who are facing pending evictions or will face evictions in the next 30 days would be protected from them for at least 60 days. The law would also suspend evictions until May 1st for anyone who submits a signed paperwork stating they face some sort of financial hardship because of the pandemic. The legislation would also make it harder for banks to foreclose on smaller landlords who say they're facing hardships. The senator instead supported an amendment that would require a tenant to meet a hardship income threshold similar to what's in place in California now. Well, the city of Jamestown's council voted 8-1 last night to table a resolution that calls for the elimination of the Director of Public Safety position in the city. Several members of the council, including Councilwoman Marie Karuba, had many questions regarding the potential impact that the elimination would have on the city's operation. If the resolution would have passed, a fire chief position would have been established separate from the police chief role.
I think given the state of our budget and the fact that we're looking at a deficit already, I don't think it would be prudent to take this measure. It has been working fine for the last many years under Chief Snellings, and I would expect the same would continue under Chief Jackson.
Ward 5 Councilman Grant Olson, the only person who voted against tabling the matter, also asked how the resolution would affect the police chief's salary if passed. Mayor Eddie Sundquist says that the salary would be adjusted to account for the fact that the police chief would no longer receive a stipend that they would get while serving as the Director of Public Safety. Officials say if they filed the letter of necessity, they could vote on the resolution come January. Well, we thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we get a check of local headlines and all that matters to you. Let's now check in with the comments and say hello to Austin. Good to see Deb. Good to see Samantha, Clarence, Todd, and Barbara as well. Let us know what you're doing down in the comments below and what you think of these stories and more. Good to see Lisa, Rita, Greg, David, Christian, and Raymond as well. Well, now let's get a check of our first defense weather forecast. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter joins us live with that. Hey, Dakota.
Hey, Justin. And boy, we are so close to the new year. We cannot wait to end this year. I'm telling you that. But yeah, we've got some snowflakes falling here. This is a live look coming from the Seneca Allegheny Casino in Salamanca. Don't bother with the winds here. The anemometer here is broken. The winds are not calm here. But you can see some of those lake effect snowflakes falling, and it is much cooler out there today than it was yesterday. First Defense Doppler radar shows you those limited lake effect snow flurries that have actually worked their way into Cattaraugus County. These are going to ultimately continue through the early afternoon, and then they're going to ultimately taper off for later this afternoon and into tonight, but we're still going to see a chance for at least a few light snow showers by morning tomorrow. 39 was the high yesterday, but that was early in the morning. Temperatures actually slid all the way down through the lower 30s throughout the day yesterday. 22 was the high yesterday, was the low this morning. 67 and 10 below zero are the record highs and lows set at the Jamestown airport. Right now we're at 25 here in town, 26 in Mayville, 28 in Fredonia, 24 in Clymer, 30 in Erie, 24 in Randolph, and 23 over in Olean. Temperatures much cooler today, but it's still breezy. So don't dress for numbers like that. Dress for numbers likely in the mid-teens today. So scattered light lake effect snow showers continue. Little accumulation, if any, about 1 inch on the highest hills. Colder and still a bit breezy, 23 to 31 with a west-northwest wind 10 to 20 miles per hour. New Year's not looking too bad at this point. And as we start 2021, how is it looking? I'll give you all the details in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, you're the man to watch. Thank you. The House of Representatives voted to increase a one-time COVID stimulus check to $2,000 yesterday after President Trump signed a sweeping coronavirus relief bill into law over the weekend. But before eligible Americans can see more cash, the measure must now clear the Senate. Nadia Romero has more from Washington, where some Republicans are voting against the measure, even though President Trump asked for the increase.
The holiday weekend less than festive for some Americans struggling to pay their bills while on unemployment, like single mom Megan Meyer.
And it's hard for me as a mother to sit back and know that there's not something that I can do to fix it and make it better for them.
President Trump finally signed a massive stimulus package Sunday night, giving 12 million jobless Americans benefits for another 11 weeks. But breaks in payments are expected because it took so long to reach a deal. although the benefits are retroactive.
I've just been holding out, waiting for Congress to be able to make some decisions that would be in the best interest of so many Americans like myself.
The president says he stalled signing the bill until Senate leaders agreed to consider increasing stimulus checks from $600 to $2,000. House Republicans blocked a similar measure on Christmas Eve, but some say they support it now.
We do expect the $2,000 that he's wanting per individual to go through.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Democrats are on board.
Every Senate Democrat is for it. But unfortunately, we don't have the Republicans on board.
I'm Nadia Romero.
Nadia, thank you. Today, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, you see there, is expected to request unanimous consent to pass the bill and increase stimulus checks from $600 to those $2,000 mark. But if just one senator objects, the measure could fail. Well, an American Airlines memo tells its previously furloughed pilots the newly passed stimulus will get them paid, but they don't actually need to show up to work. It only says about 60 of the more than 1,200 pilots it furloughed will be returning to flying in the near future, and those 60 aren't expected to resume flying until sometime in March. The new $900 billion stimulus gives airlines and contractors $16 billion for worker payroll support, and it bans new furloughs until March 31st. While the number of people flying picked up over the holiday, America is still seeing some significantly smaller flight schedules, and the American Airlines company doesn't know when it will be able to bring everyone back to work. Well, straight ahead here, still a lot more to tell you about. We break down last night's big win for the Buffalo Bills. But first, what recyclable will no longer be picked up by Jamestown BPU crews? Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
Happy holidays from WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
Want weather now? Download the WNY News Now mobile app and stay up to date on severe weather alerts. Plus, anytime hazardous weather strikes, stick with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network that keeps you safe. You're all in a tornado warning, so now is the time to go to a safe place, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. What are you waiting for? Download the WNY News Now mobile app today. It's free in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
Wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. WNY News Now, the Jolly Team, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. Glass is no longer on the list of mandatory recyclables here in the city of Jamestown. Lawmakers approved an ordinance last night revising code to remove glass from the list and change the time Board of Public Utilities solid waste customers can put trash on the curb, now from 6 to 4 p.m. Residents will now have to bring glass to their county's transfer station in Falconer if they'd like to recycle it. Councilwoman at Large Tamu Graham Reinhardt was the only dissenting member, saying she hopes residents will take time to properly dispose of the material. Now, back in November, the BPU laid out the groundwork for the change, citing a customer demand for more plastic and cardboard recycling. The resolution also saves the utility money by not collecting the material. Well, if you bought a ceiling fan from Home Depot, you better listen up. The company is recalling almost 200,000 of the fans you see right here. It's called the Mara ceiling fan. It's in white, black, and polished nickel finishes. The reason for the recall is because the blades can detach while in use. Kings of Fans, the Florida company that made the fan, said it received around 47 reports of blades disconnecting. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission saying people who bought the fan should stop using them immediately and contact the company for a replacement. Home Depot claims to have sold 80,000 of them between April and October. Well, it's that time of year again, and when people set lofty goals for the new year. But with the stress of the pandemic in mind, some mental health experts suggest a new approach to resolutions in 2021. Our Claire Galt explains.
Who would have known 2020 was going to test us all? While many resolve to do something new in the new year, 2021 may not be the best time to do that, according to Sophie Lazarus, psychologist with Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center.
What happens is we set a really high bar January 1st and we don't meet it and we feel more discouraged. And especially now, we really just don't need that for ourselves.
Especially as we say goodbye to a year full of pandemic stress, Lazarus says a reasonable resolution would be to simply try to take better care of ourselves. 3 ways to do that: begin with shifting your perspective, and don't focus solely on your hardships.
Trying to also bring into this scope of our attention things that we're grateful for, like maybe family, friends, our health, even just kind of a sunny day in the gloominess of winter.
Next, take time away from technology.
Put the phone away, put the computer away, focus on what you're doing. Really gives our mind a break, allows us to be in the present moment, also gives us a break from this constant barrage of things we need to worry about.
Finally, be kind to yourself.
Let's give ourselves the same grace that we would give someone that we really love and care about, and just kind of see how that affects our energy and our well-being.
This year, you might just want to resolve to give yourself a break. For WNY News Now, I'm Claire Galt.
Claire, thank you. The psychologist says resolving to focus on the present moment and enjoying each day will go a long way in helping mental health as well. Well, the Buffalo Bills put a cherry atop of the changing guard here in the AFC East. After weeks of unseating the Patriots as division champions, Buffalo became the first AFC East team in 2 decades to sweep New England in a season series with a 38-9 victory last night. Josh Allen passed for 4 touchdowns to help the Bills stay in the mix for the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. The Bills last swept the Patriots in 1999. The last division opponents to sweep the Patriots were the Jets and Dolphins in 2000. The Patriots' 19 straight seasons without losing both games to a divisional opponent is now an NFL record. New England will finish with its first losing record since coach Bill Belichick's first season in 2000. Certainly great news for a lot of Western New York Bills fans, but Dakota, he's not too happy. As you know, he's our in-house Patriots fan.
Congratulations. You beat a sucky team. Aren't you wonderful?
You know, Dakota, I think this goes in line with what we talked about since the beginning. 2020 has been such a crazy year that why not Buffalo, right? And
I'm going to tell you right here, right now, and you heard this first here, folks, and I'm going to go on record for this. The Super Bowl, if Buffalo makes it to the Super Bowl, if they face New Orleans, which seems to be the clear favorite for the NFC, New Orleans is going to win. If the Bills face the Buccaneers, the Bills are going to win. Because you know they are not going to give a Super Bowl to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers if they play against the Bills. They're not going to give them the Super Bowl. You heard it first here, folks.
Interesting prediction for sure. Now, remember, this comes from a guy who believes the NFL is rigged, which
it is.
Honestly, you have me
all
convinced.
Pro sports are fixed in some way. There is no real sports anymore.
Remember, folks, it's 716-488-7226, option 4. Takes you right to Dakota. So give him a call a little later today. Good to see Samantha. Good to see Lisa. Good to see Will and Michael as well. Let us know what you think about this and more in the comments below. You happy about the Bills win? You're not happy about it? I mean, I'm pretty happy about it, all things considered. I mean, I come from a Steelers family, but go Bills. Why not? I like it.
I don't.
No, Dakota doesn't. Well, good thing we can move on from this segment and go straight to weather.
Let's talk about Snowfall here before I go off a crazy train here. But anyway, this is kind of the temperature map that you see sometimes, but we kind of retrofitted it with Snowfall. So these are the snowfall totals that we've had throughout the month on each day. So again, the squares here that are colored in blue, those are days where we've had measurable snow at the airport. And throughout this month, we've had 18.5 inches of snow. That's only 2.9 inches below normal for the month. So we've actually played catch up very nicely, and you can thank a lot of this lake effect snow, especially over the Christmas holiday, that helped to boost our snowfall totals up. So we're starting next year relatively mild here. We're not seeing any signs of any real Arctic air here, and really no signs of it likely, at least until maybe mid-January, at least looking at some of the longer range computer models here. But you can see here, at least the weekend, 42 on Saturday, but we do go down a little bit, 34 on Sunday. All in all, not bad. Now, New Year's, we wanted to talk a little bit about the New Year's history. So the warmest New Year's Eve ever was in 1950, where the low was 40 degrees. The coldest was 10 below zero just recently in 27. The wettest was in 1990, where we had almost 2 inches of rain, and almost 5 inches of snow in 1948, made for the snowiest New Year's Eve ever. So right now, this is a live look from the top of the Doubletree Hotel. We're at 25 as a noon hour right now with a light snow shower reported, and we have a west wind of 13, but look at this wind gust. 32. So dress for numbers closer to this. 13, that's what it feels like when you factor in the wind. That's the wind chill out there. So satellite and radar composite basically shows you, once again, there's our wind from our source region, west-northwest. So it's dragging off that colder air across Lake Erie. So we do have a few potato flakes showing up off Lake Erie. How about this band of lake effect snow coming off Lake Ontario? Cold front's going to pass on through. High pressure ridge set up to our north and west. That's going to be moving in here, especially later this week. So future scan shows you just a few of those scattered snow showers through the afternoon. No big deal there. Now, tomorrow morning, we may get into a few light snow showers by tomorrow morning. And then as temperatures rise into the 40s tomorrow, it'll actually transition over to all rain. So expect scattered rain showers through the afternoon tomorrow, and temperatures back up at around 40. May end as a few wet snowflakes as we go into Thursday. And then Thursday, not really looking all that bad for New Year's Eve. So the zone forecast, the inland areas today, much colder than it has been. These are the air temperatures, but again, with a healthy west-northwest wind, it's not going to feel anywhere close to this. So you need to dress for numbers in the lower teens with those with the winds averaging about 10 to 20 miles per hour. Next 7 days of your life coming up right now, brought to you by 42 degrees and sunny, 40 tomorrow, 35 on Thursday. Let's just end this year. Let's just get it done and over with. 42 Friday. And also on Saturday. Now Friday, a few rain showers at that. A few scattered showers continue on Saturday. And Sunday and Monday looking mainly dry, but temperatures go back down into the lower 30s. We'll take a break and be right back. First Defense Weather is sponsored by 42 Degrees and Sunny, smokin' deals on smokin' accessories. Learn more at 42degreesandsunny.com. That's 42degreesandsunny.com.
Wishing you a safe and happy holiday season. WNY News Now, the Jolly Team, where coverage comes first.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, Or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
Move over.
When you see signs,
Lights. Vests.
please give us some room.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
When you need help,
It's our job
To help you.
to save you.
despite the danger.
This danger is real.
Do your part.
Please
Slow down. Slow down. And move over.
move over.
Happy holidays from WNY News Now.
And welcome back. Take a guess. What do you think was the best-selling tech product of 2020? Well, if you said the iPhone, ding, ding, ding. We're talking about 195 million that were sold this year, a solid jump from 185 million last year. The projections come from an analyst for USA Today, who says seeing that kind of increase in the middle of a pandemic is pretty surprising. But it also starts to make sense when you think about how many people needed to upgrade their tech gear since they've been working from home. A number of other Apple products saw a boost this year too, including Apple AirPods, the iPad, and the Apple Watch. Samsung's Galaxy smartphone also saw an increase, but Amazon's Echo Dot didn't fare quite as well, seeing a dip in sales this year. Well, Dakota, we go from football to tech, which I think you're probably more comfortable in this sense. What do you make of this, bud?
Well, honestly, I'm not surprised because earlier in the year we had talked about when Apple had launched the second generation iPhone SE, and I mentioned how, in a way, I think the iPhone SE might become the best-selling iPhone of the year, which I don't think it was. I think the iPhone 12 still beat it, but I mean, you got to think about it. $399, cheapest iPhone ever.
Right.
And they launched it during the beginning of the pandemic, which was a smart move because nobody is going to spend $999 on at the time it was the iPhone 11 Max. Right. And it's like nobody has that kind of money. So $399 for a new iPhone is great. Right. So I think Apple saw the boost in sales because of the SE and then the long-awaited 12, which finally brings 5G compatibility to the iPhone. And a lot of people were obviously really looking forward to that now since 5G is being rolled out. Now, I don't think we have it here yet.
We do now.
Okay,
yes,
we do have it
I know
here.
Matt ran a story earlier this year. They kind of snuck it in, but it's available in some of the more urban areas here in so Jamestown you can get it. But
because I know it's been in Buffalo for a while, but
and I almost feel like they've sort of changed phone sales to almost kind of like cars, where I know like some of the older population who has iPhones are now getting hand-me-down iPhones, and they work still. It's so incredible compared to maybe other technologies where, not a knock on Windows, but a Windows computer, and I've never tried their phone, but you know, as things get aged, you can reformat them, but it almost seems like sometimes it can't keep up as well.
Well, I can tell you that my old iPhone 6S that I have, because I have it at the house, and I run the betas of iOS on that.
Yeah.
And I can tell you when iOS 14 was in the beta stage, I ran it on my 6S and it ran absolutely smoothly. I had no problems at all.
That's incredible.
On
it's a staple,
6S.
I think, to the technology.
And you know, and Apple has really made a lot of improvements to the OS every single year to make them run as good as they can on older devices. And you know, it's the same way with Mac OS. It's like, you know, my MacBook Pro here is a 2015 and it still runs, you know, the latest Mac OS just fine. I mean, it's running Mac OS Big Sur perfectly.
So let us know what you think about this story more in the comments. Tori says, T-Mobile has 5G here in Jamestown. She says, I have 5G on T-Mobile in parts of Jamestown, Falconer, and Lakewood. So absolutely. And I think that's the thing, is no longer are we out of that availability, where we jokingly say this area is 10 years behind in technology.
It took us a long time to get LTE. Do you remember when we had 4G?
Yeah.
And it took us forever to upgrade from 3G to 4G.
Yeah.
And it was just like everybody was ranting on their iPhones. They would post pictures on social media. I have 4G. Well, no, you don't.
Right, exactly. Real quick, before we end, I want to bring on, speaking of iPhones, our virtual intern today, Claire, who you saw a little bit earlier on the show. She did one of the packages for us. Say hello, Claire.
Hi, I'm Claire. I'm coming all the way from North Carolina.
Yeah, so it's incredible. You couldn't do this internship before. but technology allows you to do it. What has it been like so far this morning?
It's been really cool. Honestly, it's not that different than being in the newsroom, I would say. I mean, obviously it's not as hands-on, but I feel like I've learned just as much as I would being there.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And we were on Zoom, and she previewed my desktop this morning, and we went through how we produced the show. And
I'm surprised her head hasn't exploded.
Yeah, right. There's so much. Sorry for the information overload. Awesome. So, well, that's going to do it for us today. Of course, news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. We'll leave you with this live look over downtown Jamestown. Dakota and I are back tomorrow. We'll see you then, friends.